Unscripted.
Sony's had to fight an unusual amount of FUD and misinformation this generation, leading up to next generation actually, so it does come as a little bit of a surprise to me, considering when you look at any of the polls or any of the kind of information out there, it looks like most people, right around 65-75%, are all planning on buying a PlayStation 5 instead of an Xbox. So I don't understand where this mysterious jump in kind of misinformation comes from. Should it be really concerning? I don't really think so, given the fact that, you know, the metrics of everything that we see that is announced as PlayStation 5 far and away outdoes anything that we see for Xbox Series X or Xbox Series S. So I think Sony's still in a very good position to sort of go forward. But they do actually fight back a little bit in terms of some of that in response to sort of what like Digital Foundry was saying and things like that. Now, again, I'm on record. I don't have a problem with Digital Foundry. I do see a lot of people sort of maybe taking things a little bit too far with them. I don't look at them as like good or bad. I just think they kind of do their job. And naturally, when you say something is better than the other, or a game runs better on one thing than the other, that's going to upset some feelings or whatever. It doesn't really upset my feelings because I personally don't care, but you know, it's all fodder for console wars, which are supposed to be fun. But like I said, Sony did actually go out and kind of fire back at this, and it's very interesting to sort of see their thoughts and sort of the progress with next generation and the PlayStation 5. So there's two different things that I kind of wanted to cover, but I wanted to get into it because I'm eager to talk about both. So let's get started, shall we? What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. If you're looking for a way to help out a small channel such as my own, the best way to do that is a like. Yes, I put a lot of hard work into these videos, and a simple like really does go a long way, and it's completely free for you to do that. So please do that. And shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. You are amazing people. So with that being said, you know, a lot of Xbox fanboys kind of getting their feelings on certain things. You know, again, this is something that happens every generation. Every generation sort of has this kind of situation. Now, we did get some information because they actually, Eurogamer / Digital Foundry did an article and stuff like that, and the video on their response to the PlayStation 5 teardown, how Sony balanced build costs with performance and why it's so large. And they really talk about the different things with the basic size of the unit and how it's, you know, how they put in a little bit cheaper components than Xbox did. And I think a lot of PlayStation fans might have took a little bit of offense to some of the things that were said. One of the things that honestly was kind of interesting was they kind of mentioned how it was like more of a simple design than Xbox, which I think some people took offense to, and again, I can see why that would be the case, because let's be honest, at the end of the day, the PlayStation 5 looks far and above the design of the Xbox Series X, and that's just kind of a fact. You know, the Xbox Series X looks like something that was just kind of shoved together or whatever. You know, very little kind of idea of anything special to it or whatever, but I get that. You know, Sony went for more of a console design, whereas Microsoft went for more of sort of a PC design. One of the things that I think also that kind of ticked Xbox, or excuse me, it ticked PlayStation fans off, was the fact that they kind of omitted the Wi-Fi and the C input. That's a huge advantage for the Xbox or for the PlayStation 5. So they were a little bit interesting there as well, to sort of see them kind of go back on that or whatever. They were talking about the size of the SoC as well, saying it was interesting and often indicative of aspects of a design such as a transistor count, not to mention having a big cost implication. Some online discussions suggest that the chip, based on a comparison to the GDDR6 layout, may seem around to be the processor, with no square look on the chip and no direct comparison points, because they didn't actually have one in their midst or anything like that. Likely when compared to the Xbox Series X, here we have a fully annotated die shot and a camera, a confirmed area, stripping back 16 compute units and a couple of GDDR6 memory controllers. Certainly puts us in that ballpark. Compared to the Xbox Series X, the whole setup here in terms of the processor and memory units represents a significant cost savings. So they're saying that, it's a cost savings what they were able to do, but they're not saying that it's bad or that it's worse or anything like that. Quite contrary, they've been saying, that they're going to be able to do some amazing things with the PlayStation 5 in and of itself. And, the Teardown also takes a look at the ginormous heatsink and the 350 watt power supply. But he says also expect actual power draw to be a lot lower. It's pretty clear that Sony's strategy here is with hardware designed to keep costs manageable with a small processor, but increase performance by blasting it with a high level of power diverted to CPU and GPU frequencies as needed. Dissipating the heat is all down to what I'd consider an almost Toyota-like philosophy, not to reinvent the wheel in the way that Microsoft has with the Xbox Series X perhaps, but to rely upon what works and to add some extra flourishes where needed. The price we pay comes in terms of sheer volume. This is clearly going to be a huge console, relatively speaking, but the advantage to Sony is a considerable reduction in build cost. So again, a lot of people kind of took some offense to that, and Sony themselves have said, hey, we built it this way. We've had this thing designed for the last couple of years. We knew what we were kind of doing with this and what avenues we were going to be taking, and I felt like that was really smart on them to actually do that. Now, on the other hand, they kind of, shot back and were talking about how, they really wanted it to be like fan service and to excite the gamers and stuff like that. On the other hand, Eurogamer also looked at the PlayStation 5 user interface, and it says it could actually be a game changer. It says, when was the last time we saw a game-changing reveal in the immediate run-up to the launch of a next-gen console? Sony may have well pulled this out of the bag with today's new state of play, concentrating on the much-anticipated PlayStation 5 user interface. Sony's menu system has always been polished, beautiful pieces of work, but for the next generation, this is married with a truly impressive range of in-game functions. These are some impressive new improvements to existing options, but also things we have never seen before in a console. Digital Foundry had a chance to see the interface ahead of time, and they talked with the new system with Sony's Hideki Nishino. And the basic level, the user interface itself does not disappoint. We've had hints of sorts about the look and feel of the UI in prior Sony online events, with a smart menu system rendered in glittering bronze, and we can now confirm the whole presentation renders at native 4K, and even supports native HDR out of the box. We also got our first look at the home page where the games and media apps get their own portion of the UI. There's a focus on instant access to everything you need, delivered thanks to new, faster Zen 2 CPU cores and ultra-fast solid-state drive solutions, supplemented by a caching system to reduce potential network lag. On top of that, certain apps like the PlayStation Store are now fully integrated into the system, meaning no delay when you access them. That was my biggest kind of thing that I really kind of took out from that as well, because one of the things that I hate is I don't have like super fast internet. So when we actually kind of get this idea that we don't have to be lagged around by our internet anymore, I really kind of like that. So they really talk about how the cool stuff really kicks in when you highlight a specific game. It's at this point when we start to see the cards associated with the titles, and the most crucial card types are activities. Essentially, activity cards take the form of curated entry points into the game, altered by the developer, ready to wear challenges and get you straight into the action with specific objectives. So, activities is we are running from a suspended version of the game. It's not a cold boot, but regardless, thanks to the flourishes, any hint of loading is obscured. You're right into the gameplay. Also impressive is how the user can turn to what's known as Control Center at any time during play, able to access any and all cards seamlessly, and that includes what's known as official game help. This takes you from a context of sensitive streaming videos to get you past a current tricky spot without a user potentially being exposed to spoilers. These videos can be run full screen or while you are playing via picture-in-picture mode, which is something I was talking about yesterday, which is fantastic. The PlayStation 5 user experience, we are reimagining the way that the game works together with the hardware and network, according to Sony. Delivering a truly next-gen experience is completely centered around the player themselves. The community aspect is also integrated into the Control Center, and therefore into gameplay. Voice chat is easily accessible, and it's a piece of cake for party members to share their screens to, even if it's a different game. In the State of Play video, they take a break from playing Sackboy Adventures and watch another party member streaming Uncharted The Lost Legacy. Being a system-level feature, back-compat PS4 titles share some of the features of the new UI, just like the game videos in the video that we actually saw as well. So they really did like the entire setup the UI. So on one hand, you had Sony kind of shoot back and say, hey, you know, we actually did our design and made it kind of simpler and made it kind of more basic because it's more realistic of what gamers expect. And then you have, you know, Digital Foundry come out and say they really loved the PlayStation 5 UI. I think that was really something cool that they were able to do. According to Sony, hardware resources limited and defined, and it's shared between the game and our system. We define how much of the resources can be spent by the system, but it's a similar amount to what we're doing with PlayStation 4. That's a philosophical thing. We're trying to give as much power and resources as possible back to the game size because the game is the core, and then we bring control center and activity cards while minimizing the system resources we spend. There's other Easter eggs in there as well that they kind of hint at that we're going to be able to see as well. You know, again, we could be seeing a lot more things kind of come up over the next few days or whatever. And I think one of the reasons why we might see that is because they actually did kind of gloss over some things or didn't talk about some things that actually showed up in the video itself. So it's going to be very fun to sort of see what Easter eggs people sort of come into play and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm there for it. I tell you what, man, I'm super excited to see everything about it that we can find, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Sony has to offer in terms of their games next generation. I want to see when Ratchet & Clank's releasing, God of War, Horizon, all that good stuff. So very good stuff. I will link all of it, of course. Nice to see Sony kind of fight back against the FUD, but also, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily they needed even to, honestly. I mean, I don't look at what Digital Foundry said about them to be extremely bad either way. So let me know what you think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please take care of each other, stay happy, healthy, and all that good stuff. Rack 'em up. Game on, my friends. Game on. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.